What if I told you that, long before our digital age, there existed a people who not only read the future, but believed that symbols carved in stone and bone could reveal the darkest fate? And most chillingly, some of these prophecies were so terrifying that they forever changed the lives of those who heard them, foretelling not only personal tragedies, but catastrophes of epic proportions that defy our comprehension to this day. Prepare to delve into the secrets whispered by ancient Viking runes. In the heart of the frozen lands of the north, where the wind brought tales of gods and monsters, the ancient Vikings didn't see runes as just a common alphabet for writing. For them, each of these symbols carved in wood, metal, or stone was a living force, a key to the mysteries of the universe, a gift from the Norse gods themselves that allowed them not only to communicate but also to manipulate reality and, most fascinating and terrifying of all, to predict the future. It was not a simple writing system, but a complex web of magical and oracular meanings, where the arrangement and combination of each rune could reveal hidden secrets and inevitable fates, from the fortunes of a harvest to the outcome of a bloody battle. The art of reading the runes was not for everyone. It was a sacred responsibility, usually in the hands of a chosen few, the sages and the Volvas, women and men of profound intuition who served as mediators between the mortal world and the spirit realm. They prepared complex rituals, sometimes in secluded valleys under the moonlight or in dark, damp caves, purifying themselves and the materials before handling the pieces of wood or stone. Practitioners entered a trance, using their mystical abilities to cast the runes and observe the way they fell, the patterns they formed, and the runes that were nearby, thus interpreting the complex and often ambiguous warnings of the gods. The weight of the revelation was immense, for often what the runes revealed was not what was expected or desired. The rune prophecies, however, were rarely about small, trivial events. They were messengers of fate, often terrifying. Certain rune sequences were said to foretell bitter harvests, where famine would haunt clans through long, cruel winters, leading to despair and even cannibalism in extreme cases. Others warned of betrayals from close friends, severing blood ties and plunging entire families into fatal discord. There were those that foretold sea voyages of no return, where entire ships would be swallowed by giant waves or devoured by sea beasts unseen beneath the dense fog. And darkest of all, the runes were supposedly capable of revealing signs pointing to greater catastrophes, events that would shake their world to its foundations, foreshadowing ages of darkness or the end of times as they knew it. Among the most terrifying visions were those that spoke not of isolated tragedies, but of a chain of interconnected events, a slow unfolding of fate that would lead to what they called the final twilight. Certain combinations of runes, for example, predicted not only a year-long food shortage, but also the beginning of a succession of harsh winters, a period of endless ice that would imprison the earth and suffocate all life, a Fimbul winter of mystical proportions, which many believed to be the harbinger of the apocalypse, the time of the great wolves. Most chillingly, these runes not only announced the end, they whispered of the steps that would lead to it, of fratricidal wars, unprecedented floods, and fire-spewing skies, constructing a tapestry of doom that unfolded inexorably. There were even legends about certain runes or specific combinations that were considered cursed or damned. Not that they were evil in themselves, but their mere revelation or recording was said to carry an unbearable weight of dark knowledge. Supposedly, whoever unraveled the prophecy of a rune of doom inevitably saw their life take a devastating turn, marked by successive misfortunes, inexplicable accidents, or a profound melancholy that consumed them to the core. It was believed that the fate revealed by these runes was fixed, unalterable, and knowing what was to come only made the wait for tragedy even more agonizing, creating a silent dread that could destroy sanity even before the predicted event arrived. But how were these terrifying prophecies preserved? They were not mere whispers on the wind. The runes were often carved into colossal stone memorials, bone amulets worn close to the body, or weapon blades, instilling icy fear in those who bore or encountered them. The permanence of these engravings was a constant reminder of an inexorable fate, with the macabre symbols fixed for future generations to read or fear. Some say the most profound and shocking messages were engraved in secret locations, underground temples or remote caves, far from the eyes of the profane, just waiting to be deciphered by those with the right key. Today, centuries have passed, but these runic traces still remain, an inexhaustible source of mystery for researchers and enthusiasts. Many strive to decipher the true depth of these markings, seeking to go beyond mere linguistic interpretations to understand whether there was lost archaic knowledge of astronomical cycles, complex weather patterns, or even astrological predictions hidden within the apparent simplicity of these symbols. Could these ancient societies have possessed a way of understanding the world and its dangers that we, with all our technology, have yet to replicate or even fully comprehend? The search continues, driven by the possibility that the terrifying prophecies still hide secrets that would impact our understanding of reality itself. Think for a second, what would it be like to live knowing exactly what tragedy awaits you, your family, or your community? Today, we often worry about the future, about the uncertainty of everyday life, about the bad news that could appear at any moment. But the experience of a Viking whose fate was revealed by the runes was an almost unbearable psychological burden. Imagine someone telling you that, years from now, a disease would take your loved ones, or that your hard work would be in vain because of a failed harvest. For them, these weren't just speculations. They were irrefutable warnings carved in stone and in their souls. Living under the shadow of a prophecy of doom generated a particular form of heroism or despair, shaping every decision and every step toward a future already mapped out, a knowledge that, though feared, was part of who they were and their worldview. It was their very soul being challenged by inevitability. Our modern society values the idea of free will. We are the masters of our own destiny, and we can shape our future with our choices and efforts. But for the ancient Norse, this notion was much more complex. They lived in a universe where the threads of fate, woven by the Norns, cosmic spinners of time, were mostly immutable, and the runes were merely a glimpse of these already traced threads. So what was the point of knowing if there was no way to change? The answer is frightening and intriguing. Perhaps it wasn't about changing the future, but about accepting it, about preparing for the inevitable, or even about heroically fulfilling destiny. Thus, a terrifying prophecy was not an invitation to despair, but a call to face the twilight of life or the world with courage, knowing that one is part of a larger, albeit tragic, story, what some modern historians call heroic fatalism. This is a mindset that makes us question our own conception of control over life and the extent to which we are truly free. And what does this tell us today? While we don't cast runes to predict disasters, we still live with our own modern Fimbulwinters and apocalyptic prophecies. Think of the warnings about climate change, global pandemics, or impending conflicts that echo through our news and social media. Just as the Vikings feared endless winters and the plagues that decimated their villages, we too grapple with the uncertainty of global-scale events that could change the course of civilization, perhaps forever. These ancient narratives remind us that fear of the unknown, fascination with what is to come, and the search for signs and warnings are inherent to the human condition, spanning millennia and cultures. Perhaps the greatest legacy of the runes is not prophecy itself, but the timeless reflection of our own anxieties and the way we attempt to find meaning and control in the vast and merciless universe that surrounds us. The darkness of the past is reflected, in some way, in our own apprehensions. Stop and consider the depth that a simple set of strokes and lines can carry. Today we are accustomed to letters that form words, that form sentences, but rarely does a single symbol carry such an immense load of meaning and power that it stirs our psyche. For the Vikings, each rune was not just a letter to spell a name or a word. It was a miniature cosmos, a key to the divine, a summary of elemental forces, and a harbinger of destiny. Carving a rune into a stone or an amulet was not a mere act of writing, but of invocation, of connecting with something much greater and more ancient than themselves, something that could dictate life or death. This insight makes us reflect on the enduring power of symbols in our own culture, from big brand logos that drive us to buy to religious icons that inspire faith and awe. We still attribute profound, even mystical, meaning to visual representations, unwittingly echoing this ancient belief in the immensity of a simple line. And what do you think about all this? Do these runes truly hold secrets about a feared future, or are they simply metaphors for a culture that lived in tune with the natural and human dangers of its time? Have you ever heard of these chilling prophecies hidden in Viking runes? Tell us in the comments what your wildest and most intriguing theory about this mystery is. If you've delved deep into this narrative and been thrilled by these secrets, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and hit the notification bell. We'll have many more ancient mysteries to reveal, and you won't want to miss any of these thrilling stories.